Jasmine Crockett, bringing the heat to Capitol Hill, as we see in these viral video clips. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is a member of the Oversight Committee. She's also a civil rights lawyer.
Commentator Andrew Breitbart News content has been described as misogynistic, xenophobic, and racist by academics and journalists. So I don't know that that's where I want anybody to take their cues from, especially when they're trying to run this country. That part. And then let me clear up another little part real quick. Got to talk about these root causes. Number one, the fact that we have elected legislators that won't do their job and protect people by keeping these weapons off the streets. That's number one. Number two, we are still reeling from a financial crisis. And guess what? They don't want to make it better. I'm sure they all campaigned and said, oh, we're going to help out the economy post-COVID. But right now we are on a cliff over the debt ceiling. The debt ceiling that was raised 3 times under Trump, and 25% of this credit card bill that they don't want to pay was accrued under Trump, and he only had 1 term. And hopefully he won't have no more.
Family home. It may not be a $2.5 million home like yours, but that sounds like a lot of red tape to me.
Excuse me.
Do you
I
disagree?
really take that as a personal
Do you
assault.
disagree?
My home.
Do you disagree that this was an overreach?
I disagree that
Ms.
you're
Captain, my time
casting
has expired.
aspersions on
Mr. Chairman,
me
I yield.
or my...
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, could we just ask all of our good members to respect the civility and decorum and the integrity of the witnesses who've come forward at their own expense to testify before us today? An insult is not a substitute for an argument.
This committee runs my pressure up. And I do come prepared to committee, and then there's always somebody from this side that does something ridiculous that throws me all the way off. So, oh, Jesus. Okay, so this is where we're going to start, Ms. Kaskin. First of all, let me apologize because that was uncalled for. So let me do what she would never do, which is to be an adult in this room.
Like, share, and subscribe.
But what I'm asking is for you to do your job and make people feel safe, especially those that are depending on you to do it when you see cases of, 48% increase in sexual assault cases. My goodness.
So,
That's it. I've heard enough. Chairman, I yield my time.
Sexual abuse. I am so excited that my colleagues across the aisle care about sexual abuse, considering that the front runner right now for presidency has just been found liable of sexual abuse. So I'm excited because this may mean that finally some folk will back off from supporting him because we don't support sexual abusers in this chamber. So I'm happy about this.
According to NPR, in part because of the 2023 decision that had found Trump liable for assault, Judge Kaplan ruled that Trump had defamed Carroll in 2019 and that the former president was also liable. According to the New York Times, last May, a jury found that Mr. Trump sexually abused Ms. Carroll, a former advice columnist for Elle magazine who said he assaulted her nearly 3 decades ago in a Bergdorf Goodman dressing room.
Are you aware that China does not like the United States and that has engaged in espionage activities against the United States?
I don't have any personal professional knowledge of that.
Okay. Well, I suggest you read Breitbart. This program was created with the intent of making it political. And let's be clear, whenever they show pictures of DACA recipients, they typically tend to show Hispanic children, when in actuality it's more than just the Hispanic demographic. So I guess the question for you would be, you're in charge of a program that's costing American taxpayers millions and billions of dollars, and yet you're sitting here refusing to answer questions about whether or not that's fair or there's certain terminology being used for these programs. I guess my suggestion to you would be is that our rules that we have in place are in place for a reason. And ultimately what ends up happening is when you have these programs that are exploited, it does harm people long term. Chairman, I yield my time.
It never ceases to amaze me what will come out of some of my colleagues' mouths. So it was suggested that you should read Breitbart, and I couldn't let it go. And so just for the general public, because I don't want anybody to believe that that's a good idea, I just got on Google, which if you have a cell phone, we can all do that. Breitbart News Network is an American far-right syndicated news, opinion, and commentary website founded mid-2007 by American conservative commentator Andrew Breitbart. Breitbart News content has been described as misogynistic, xenophobic, and racist by academics and journalists. So I don't know that that's where I want anybody to take their cues from, especially when they're trying to run this country. That part. And then let me clear up another little part real quick. DACA is political, is what I heard just now. You've testified that DACA recipients are considered to be lawfully present, correct?
That's correct. I've said that under the Department of Homeland Security's longstanding definition, DACA recipients are considered lawfully present.
Right, they're not considered illegals. They're considered to be lawfully present. But lawfully present doesn't mean that you have the right to vote, correct?
I would defer to
I'll give it to you. Only U.S. citizens can vote. And so therefore, this idea that it's political or as if the Biden administration is about to rack up some votes is just another falsehood. In fact, all we continue to get is half-baked ideas and half-baked or half-lies or half-truths, whichever way you want to look at it. I want to get to something else really quickly. I want to talk about what we should be prosecuting. We should be looking at the fact that in 2017, Trump's first year in office, he also made $6.5 million from China, his tax returns show. The source of the China payments is not clear from the returns. The payments were a surprise since Trump is an outspoken critic of the $5.8 million that Hunter Biden made. The difference is Trump was our president when he made this money from China, whereas I'm sure you would agree with me, Hunter Biden has always been a private citizen. We've got a lot of other stuff. In fact, it's clear that Trump never paid more than $750 in taxes for, I want to say, a total of like 2 years of his taxes, which is absolutely insane. But we also know that it showed that Trump claimed large cash donations to charities, but the report said the IRS did not verify them. The report also said that while Trump's tax filings were large and complicated, the IRS does not appear to have signed experts to work on them. That is shameful. Commentator Andrew Breitbart. Breitbart News content has been described as misogynistic, xenophobic, and racist by academics and journalists. So I don't know that that's where I want anybody to take their cues from, especially when they're trying to run this country.
Hit the like bell before you leave the page. If you have not subscribed to the channel as yet, please do so. Thank you for watching.